Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome to not only those of you that are here, but also welcome to those of you that are home that have invited us into your homes through the power of live streaming. Thank you very much for doing that. We appreciate it. Is there anyone that's here for the very first time? Yay, yes, a couple people. Well, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Reverend Dusty Ripplemeyer, and I am the senior minister of this amazing community. We are a Science of Mind community, part of a group of Centers for Spiritual Living all over the world that believe that there is one God. And that God is not a God that is outside of us, but a God that is within us and surrounding us. Not a God that is vindictive and doles out favors or punishments at whim, but a God that is benevolent and loving. We believe that there is a creative power, much like the creative power, in fact, exactly like the creative power of God to create, and that we can use it to create lives that we love to live. And we gather together on Sundays and Wednesdays and actually most days to support each other on our spiritual path. So I'm so very glad that you are here with us today. Thank you so very much.
I have two readings for today. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin says, "There is now incontrovertible evidence that mankind has just entered upon the greatest period of change the world has ever known. The ills from which we are suffering have had their seat in the very foundation of human thought." Albert Einstein says, "The significant problems we have cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them."
So welcome to those of you who may have just arrived in the sanctuary. The theme for the month of April is transformation and evolution. My talk title today is Your Life Can Be Brand New. Change, evolution, and transformation are always occurring, whether we are consciously participating or not. It is the nature of things. The good news is that there are tools that we can use in our personal lives to consciously affect our lives and global transformation and evolution. What comes up for me around this idea of change, evolution, and transformation always occurring is, what do each of these words actually mean? We so often use them interchangeably, but are we correct in doing so? What really are the similarities and the differences between these words, and what do they matter to us individually and collectively as citizens of the world? All three imply that something is different. All three imply that something has been altered. As I looked up the definitions of each one of these words, I found that very often one or both of the other words was actually woven into the definition of the word that I was looking up. For example, one of the definitions of change is to undergo transformation or transition, to have a completely different appearance or form. One of the definitions of transformation is a complete or major change in someone or something's form or appearance. Evolution is a gradual, progressive process of change or development. If you look at the synonyms of each of them, you will find the other ones. Yet I'm here today to tell you that they are different. And it is their differences and not their similarities that matter to us and to our lives. Evolution happens over time. while change and transformation can happen in an instant. Change is always involved in a transformation, but transformation always involves a change, but change does not always involve transformation. Are you sufficiently confused yet? I think I was for a second there. The bottom line is that if we are to be in a space in which our lives can be brand new, we have to understand the subtle differences between these words. Now, we're probably most familiar with change. We can change our clothes. We can change our mind. We can change our jobs. We can change the color of our living room walls. We can change our names. We can change the place that we call home, and we can have a change in our facial expressions. We can even have a change in our life circumstances, such as in the loss of a loved one, or getting married, or receiving a diagnosis. Change can be incremental, or it can happen all at once. Change can be subtle, or it can be huge. Now, I think that it's quite possible that almost every single one of us has had at some point the opportunity to say that I want to change my life. Maybe not your whole life, but my guess would be that there is one thing or another that we want to be different. We may want to experience more peace or more joy or more love in our lives. We may want more fulfilling jobs or relationships that are peaceful or a bank account that is abundant. We may want a world that works for everyone. Often, when we begin to think about wanting something to be different in our lives, our own self-talk tells us that this needs to change or that needs to be different. And more often than not, the other people in our lives will echo this conversation with their own suggestions about what we can and should change. Now, what we typically do is to go about rearranging the outer or external circumstances of our lives, hoping that it will change the experience of our lives. But what we typically find is that those changes, the changes that we make in that external realm, don't really change our lives too much. For instance, we don't like our job, and so we change our job only to find that we have the same frustration, that we have the same relationship with our new bosses and coworkers that we had before, that we have the same job dissatisfaction. We don't really like the city that we live in, so we move to a different city only to find that the weather is no better in this city, that the job market isn't any better, and that the people aren't really any more friendly. We're unhappy in our relationships, and so we have affairs or we get divorces, and yet we are still unhappy. We hate living from paycheck to paycheck, and so we play the lottery. And then maybe we win, and for a moment our lives change, but only to revert back to the underlying state of our belief in lack and limitation. The changes are not complete, they are not lasting, and they're not lived from the inside out when we just simply change or alter our circumstances. In my research for this talk today, I read an article by a man named Morty Lefko. Morty Lefko. He is the author of a book called Recreate Your Life. This article that I read just happened to be called What's the Difference Between Change and Transformation? It's perfect. So in it, he talks about 3 different types of change, and he simply calls them first order, second order, and third order change. First order change is a change in behavior that is consistent with our worldview, with the existing beliefs that we already have, with who we believe ourselves to be. So for example, if you believe that exercise is good, and you exercise regularly, and then you hear about a new kind of exercise regime that would make you even healthier, in all probability, you're going to add to or change your exercise routine to include this new exercise. This is first order change. Morty would say, first order change is a change in behavior that does not require a change in one's beliefs. It requires only information that you did not know before. Second order change is a change in who we think we are in order to implement a change that is consistent with this new idea of ourselves. So second order change is a shift in our worldview. It's a shift in our existing beliefs and a shift in who we think we are. This shift actually creates an opening for new possibilities for actions that were not possible before. Let's say, for example, that you hear that it is healthier for you not to eat meat. So you decide that you're not going to eat meat. But it's a little bit of a struggle for you. You still kind of want to eat it. But you're committed, however, and so you have the willpower to not eat it. Now, you have changed your behavior to become a vegetarian. But you could change back and begin to eat meat again. This is a first order change. What if, however, one day you had this aha moment, and in this aha moment, something within you shifted, a new underlying idea or belief about eating meat was revealed to you. Being vegetarian is now part of your core beliefs. There's no struggle. There is no struggle in not eating meat, and there is no way that you would ever go back to eating it. On the outside, both the first order change and the second order change look exactly alike. You are not eating meat. But on the inside, internally, they are very, very different. In a second order change, you cannot go back. This was not simply rearranging the forms of your life or the behaviors that you engage in. This is a shift from within. A transformation has occurred. Can you hear the difference in that? I did a Google search for images about transformation. Now, this was one image that came up. These are transformers. They are able to change from a very common-looking car into this really scary, powerful weapon of destruction. And yet then, in a second, they are able to change right back into the car. From what you have just heard, is that transformation? Then why do they call them transformers? It's no wonder that we're confused. Here's another image that came up for me.
I told you
I know. I did it anyway. Look, it's even called transformation. If the underlying reason that this young man made this major change was that he wanted to be attractive to others, and then over time he found out that that really wasn't working, that this new body wasn't all that attractive for some reason, he could, right? He could and probably would go back to eating the way that he ate before and to not exercising. This is not transformation. If he made this change in order to appear strong, to ward off the bullies, but continued to have an underlying belief that he was weak and vulnerable, then even this new body will not change the experience of his life. He will continue to draw unto himself experiences and situations that prove his underlying belief of I am weak and vulnerable. This is not transformation. But if he were to make this change of going to the gym and eating well from a place of deep self-confidence, from a place of inner strength, from a place in which he wanted his body temple to reflect who he knew he was to be, then this would be a transformation. He would never go back. This is a transformation that is forever, from the inside out. In transformation, we become a greater expression of our highest self. In transformation, we reach higher, more inspired levels of being in the world. When we open to a new idea about ourselves or about each other or about the world, then the end result is that we open to the possibility of transformation. But we have to let go of the old. We have to let go of the old ideas, the old beliefs, the old thoughts. A blank slate allows for transformation to occur. The caterpillar had to let go of everything it knew before in order to become that which it was meant to be, in order to create a brand new life. We have to be willing to do the same. Otherwise, the change is simply a rearranging of the status quo, which is too highly related to the old. All we do is bring it forward. We have to be willing to leave the past in the past in order to invent or to create a new experience from nothing. If we cannot do that, if we are not willing to do that, then we simply continue to bring forward our past into the future. We continue to experience the same things over and over again. Maybe just a different guy or a different woman or a different job or a different hairdo or a different whatever, but it's going to be the same. If we were able to change just one belief, it would open us to be able to see the possibilities that exist. To be able to see the possibilities that exist for our lives that we couldn't see before because we had that one belief. If we could let that one belief go, we would be on our way to creating a brand new life. In the third order change, we are able to distinguish ourselves as the creator of our lives. As such, we have the ability to transform our experiences and to create a brand new life anytime we desire. In the third order change, we know that we are not our past. We know that we are not our jobs. We know that we are not our relationships. We know that we are not our bank accounts. We know that we are not anything outside of ourselves. We are the creator of all of that. All of that. We can change our lives, have a brand new life simply by dissolving old beliefs that no longer work for us, by letting go of the past and opening ourselves to a future from a blank slate, and by recognizing who we are as divine emanations of God, imbued with this creative power, imbued with the wholeness, imbued with the allness of God itself. Morty Lefko says, this is change that results in you distinguishing yourself as the changer and not that which is changed. This enables you to create your experience of life moment by moment. He would say that this is where and when the real transformation occurs. All three of these, the first order, the second order, and the third order changes are useful. They're all useful. They're all very different, and they're all can be used in very different situations. In the first order, we acquire information that we did not have before, and we are able to use that information. This can have a profound impact on our lives. In the second order change, we shift our experience of ourselves, and in that shift, we open ourselves up to possibilities for our lives that did not exist before. This can make a profound effect on our lives. And in the third order change, we distinguish ourselves as the creator of our lives, knowing that we can transform the experience of our lives or of life itself at will. This also will make a profound impact upon our lives. I love the teaching of Science of Mind for so many reasons. And as I was reading Morty Lefko's article, I realized that our teaching, our center, provides opportunities for all three of these orders of change. That through our classes, our workshops, and our services, we acquire new information. And we gain new understanding about ourselves, about each other, and about the world and the spiritual principles that govern it. We begin to learn about the powerful spiritual practices that are available to us, and we are given the space and the place in which to deepen our ability to use them, both individually and collectively. This is a first order change. Now we can begin to use this knowledge in powerful ways in our lives. Foundations class is a great class to begin to acquire this new knowledge. Through our classes, our workshops, our rituals, and practitioner spiritual guidance sessions, we provide the experiential exercises. We provide opportunities to do the inner work. We provide the opportunity to have that internal inquiry that is necessary to become more aware of the hidden beliefs and the unconscious thoughts that have created our current life. We become more aware. The center then provides a safe and supportive environment to uncover those beliefs, to shine the light of truth upon them, and to heal. We provide for each other a space that is filled with compassion and understanding and acceptance, and we encourage that for each other and even more importantly for ourselves. This is a space of second order change. Here at the center, we affirm our divinity. Yes? We know that we were created by God, out of God itself, that within us resides a spark of the divine. We know that God's words have power, that our words have power. We know and affirm that we have everything within us and surrounding us to create and to recreate the experiences of our lives at any given time. We proclaim that creating from the divinity within us, from the truth of who we are, will make a profound impact upon our lives. This is third order change. Romans 12, verse 2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." The invitation today is to stop fixating on the world of form, to stop fixating on what others are saying and doing, to stop fixating on the outward appearances of things, but instead to look within. It is possible not to just change, but to transform. It is possible for our experience of life to be different than the experience of life that we are experiencing right now. It is possible for us to create a brand new life. But we have to recognize and to know that that transformation has to come from within. And we have to be willing to do the work. As we transform, the world transforms, one person at a time. This then is the evolution, the gradual, progressive process of the world becoming brand new. A brand new world, one person at a time. Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon says, "It is incumbent upon us to transform who we are. In order for us to have a voice in the world, we have to model our own teaching. We can no longer afford to step forward and speak from anger, hatred, resentment, or prejudice. We must do the inner work." So the invitation today is to allow all three orders of change to be available for you as you transform and evolve. Take classes and have conversations that expand the knowledge base that you currently have. Allow this new wisdom and insight to open you to change. Make spiritual practice a part of your everyday routine. Get quiet. Go within. And listen to your inner wisdom informing you of new ideas, new thoughts, and new beliefs that will open you to possibility. Be willing to let go of the old, to make room for that transformation to occur. And lastly, cultivate a deep and abiding awareness of the divinity within. Know that you are one with God and that you co-create your life from a space of love, of unbounded joy, of wisdom, of creativity, of the peace that passes all understanding and limitless possibility. From that space, your life can indeed be brand new. And so it is. So I just invite us to turn within, to allow ourselves to turn away from that world of form, to turn away from the circumstances, the outward appearance of our lives, and turn inward, turning our attention to that spark of the divine that resides within, to that place and space that I call God. I know that I was created by it, out of it. I know that I am a hologram of it in its fullness, in its wholeness. That right where I am, God is. That this is a connection that can never be broken. And just as I know that this is true for me, I know that it is true for each and every person here today. That each of us is a unique and divine expression of God. That we are here on purpose. That God is living its life through each of us in our own unique way. And it is from that place of unity and wholeness that I speak these words about and for each of us today, calling forth ease and grace around this idea of transformation, recognizing the importance of this first order change of acquiring the knowledge that can open us to possibility. And also recognizing this second order of change that allows for us to shift, to let go of things that no longer serve us, to have a new idea, to let go of the old so that the slate is clean and something new can arise. I claim for each of us that we carry with us from this moment forward a palpable awareness of our divine connection with God. That we no longer allow this idea of separation to have any power over us. That we know who and whose we are, and that we create our life from that space, this third order change. And I claim ease and grace around it. I claim our power that we have individually and collectively as we transform, the world transforms. As we create a brand new life for ourselves, that the world creates a brand new life. And that truly all is well. And I'm so grateful to know this truth, to speak these words. So grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that they are made whole, perfect, and complete even as they are spoken. And so I speak them, and I release them with love and gratitude and full expectation of their manifestation, letting go and letting God be God. I invite each and every one of us to anchor it for ourselves and for each other simply by saying, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Thank you, everyone.